Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabi. I welcome you to Variation and Selection, a self-assessment program. What are the two main causes of heritable variation? The two main causes of heritable variation are mutations and recombinations. Classify the following variation as either caused by entirely genetic effect or caused by combination of genetic and environmental effects. Obesity, eye color, tallness, ability to sing, maleness, masculinity, blood group, natural hair color, sickle-cell anemia, agility. You can pause the video and classify. Entirely genetics, we have eye color, maleness, blood group, natural hair color, sickle-cell anemia. Then environmental and genetics, we have obesity, tallness, ability to sing, masculinity, and agility. These are environmental and genetics. Alleles are genes which occupy corresponding positions on a dash chromosomes. They control the same dash, but not necessarily in the same way. Alleles are genes which occupy corresponding position on homologous chromosomes. They control the same characteristic, but not necessarily in the same way. What new combinations of characteristics might arise in the offsprings when a tall plant with white flowers is crossed with a dwarf plant of the same species with red flowers? What selective advantage might either of the new varieties have? New combinations would be tall plants with red flowers or dwarf plants with white flowers. B. What selective advantage might either of the new varieties have? Tall, red-flowered plants might attract more insects for pollination. The genotype of two genopeaks for two characteristics are represented as capital A, capital A, capital B, capital B, and small a, small b, small b. These genopeaks are mated, and their offspring eventually mate with each other. What genotypes could emerge in the second generation? B. Which of these would be phenotypically different, i.e., be different in appearance from the original pair? The possible genotypes in the F2 are A, capital B, capital B, small a, small a, small b, capital A, small a, capital B, capital B, capital A, capital A, capital B, small b, small a, capital B, small b, capital A, small a, capital B, small b, capital A, small b, capital A, small a, capital B, capital A, small a, capital B, small b. B. Which of these would phenotypically be different, i.e. different from the appearance from the original pair? Now, those ones that are going to be phenotypically different are those ones with the star from the original pairs. We can have capital A, small b, have small a, capital B. We have capital A, small b, small a, capital B, small b. Those are the ones that are going to be different from the original pairs. Suppose that there are 6 pairs of allele which control height, and that each dominant allele adds 5 centimeters to the stature. Suppose also that the average height of an adult with equal number of recessive and dominant allele is 160 centimeters. What is the tallest, the shortest person you would expect from this pattern? B. On this basis, what would be the minimum difference in height between any two people? C. Why is this minimum difference unlikely to be observed in reality? A. In this model, there are 12 alleles, those are 6 pairs, which could contribute to stature. An average person would be expected, therefore, to have 6 dominant and 6 recessive alleles. That is average person. 1. The shortest person will therefore lack the dominant alleles and be 30 centimeters shorter, that is 6 times 5, than the average, who is 130 cubic centimeters. 2. The tallest person will be an addition of 6 dominant alleles and therefore be 30 centimeters taller than the average, that is 190 centimeters. On this basis, what would be the minimum difference in height between any two people? If stature were controlled solely by genes, the minimal difference between individuals would be 5 centimeters. Since height is also, here we are asking, why is this minimum difference unlikely to be observed in reality? Since the height is also influenced by nutrition and health, it is very unlikely that people would differ by exactly 5 centimeters. The histogram shows the range and frequency of occurrence of particular blood pressure, systolic, in a group of women in the age of 30 to 39 group. On this evidence, could you say that blood pressure is a discontinuous variation? Justify your answer. blood pressure seem to differ by distinct steps, which is a discontinuous variation. But this is because women have been arbitrarily placed in groups whose blood pressure differ by 10 units. If they had been put in groups differing by only 1 unit, the steps would have virtually disappeared. This variation is continuous. Give 2 examples in each case: continuous and discontinuous variation in human population. Continuous variation, for example, weight, height, intelligence, hair color, skin color, physique, blood pressure. Those are continuous variation. Discontinuous variation, we have blood group, sex, eye color, more or less, presence or absence of certain genetic diseases, albinism, hemophilia, free or attached ear lobes. Those are discontinuous variation. Which one of the following statement is the least accurate? Discontinuous variation result entirely from genetic difference. Continuous variation can result from genetic differences. Discontinuous variation cannot be altered by environmental effects. Continuous variation results from environmental effects. The least accurate statement is D. Continuous variation can be wholly genetic. For example, hair color. Or results from combination of genetic and environmental effects, like skin color. Explain why identical twins will have the same genotype. Identical twins are derived from the same fertilized ovum, a zygote, and will therefore have the same set of chromosomes and genes. When a dash and a dash put forward the theory of natural selection in 1858, they observed that there are dash between individuals of a species. They also observed that organisms produce more offspring than can possibly dash to maturity. If the dash are inherited and give the individuals an advantage over other members of the species, they will leave dash and so leave more offspring with the same beneficial dash. When Darwin and Wallace put forward the theory of natural selection in 1858, they observed that there are variation or differences between the individuals of a species. They also observed that organisms produce more offspring than can possibly survive, live, to maturity. If the variations, the difference, are inherited and give the individuals an advantage over the other members of the species, they will live longer. and so leave more offspring with beneficial variation or differences. A pair of mice has on average a litter of 6 babies. Assuming that there are equal number of males and females in a litter, that the offsprings breed freely amongst themselves. How many mice will there be after 3 generations? In the first generation, we have 2 parents and they produce 6 babies. Those now give us 8 individuals. In the second generation now, when mature, they form 3 pairs. Those are the babies, which each have 6 babies. That is 3 times how many? 6. That will give us something like 18. Then in the third generation, there are 18 babies. When mature, they form 9 pairs, which each may have 6 babies. That is 9 times 6. That makes it 54. So when you add the 2 plus the 6 plus the 18 plus the 54, we get 80. Give 3 examples of type of competition between members of an animal species in the same population. In each case, suggest the variation that might help an individual to compete more effectively. The types of competition may be for food, for mate, and for shelter. In each case, suggest the variation that might help an individual to compete more effectively. If the competition is for food, an individual to compete effectively can eat a wider variety of food. That individual may have more efficient digestion, may be better hunting or searching techniques, or more chewed sense organs. If it is for mate, the individual to compete favorably, effectively, it should have bright colors, it should have this spectacular display, and it might be more aggressive to rivals. When it comes to competition of shelter, the individual to compete more effectively for shelter superior burrowing or climbing skills should mean more sophisticated nest building or better concealment. For a beneficial variation to have a selective advantage in the course of evolution, it must be dashed by the offspring. For the beneficial variation to have selective advantage in the course of evolution, it must be inherited by the offspring. Evolution is thought to come about as a result of dash, which produces new dash. This gradually replaces the original population as a result of dash. Evolution is thought to come about as a result of mutation, which produces new varieties. This gradually replaces the original population as a result of natural selection. Which of the following statement is most acceptable from an evolutionary point of view? A. Apes and humans have evolved from a common ancestor. B. Humans have evolved from apes. C. Certain apes have gradually evolved into humans. D. Apes and humans are related. The most acceptable statement is A. Apes and humans have evolved from a common ancestor. Statement B and C, humans have evolved from apes. Certain apes have gradually evolved into humans, imply a direct line of evolution from existing apes to human. Statement D, apes and humans are related, is too vague to have much significance. What characteristics might a breeder select for in a cereal crop or a farm animal? In a cereal variety, breeder might select for high yield, disease, frost or drought resistance, early maturation, short straw, easier to harvest, reduced need for fertilizers, good quality of products, high in proteins, processing qualities, good for making bread. In farm animals, a breeder might select for high yield, wool, milk, meat, good meat fat ratio, disease resistant, fertility, that is more offsprings. Thank you very much for participating in Variation and Selection, a self-assessment program. Please do like, share, and subscribe.